Welcome back to ASL Chennai Speaks Out. China rose from 10 medals at the 1996 Olympics to 106 medals in 2008, whilst India managed just 3 medals, 1 gold and 2 bronze. So is it time to pave the way for other sports? Let's ask you, Mr. Mahendra, why is it that cricketers make so much money and other sportsmen don't? Well, you must have made a lot of money in your time, right?
Not at all. When I played cricket, it was 3 rupees and 5 rupees. I think cricketers are lucky that there is so much money because the organization, the board has built infrastructure of that kind, and they have brought money to the game, very intelligently done, and I think we shouldn't be blaming them. Today we benefit because the board has become rich. The yesteryear cricketers are getting something to live on with that. They all get a pension. Many of the cricketers who have played game get pension. But still, I would like to see other games also be getting the same treatment as cricket, because I'm also a part of other sports. I love other sports and other sports people. But as I was talking earlier, there was something which I would like to tell you, because hockey, India used to win on a turf. Today, the game has gone to AstroTurf. You need facilities if you want to play hockey on AstroTurf. You need in every area. Without that, how can you become champions? Because it's become a speed game from something which was dribbling. Right. And these are kind of the issues which we need to look at and promote the sport in the right way. And
right, sir. Thank you. Can you tell me, as members of this audience, do you resent the fact that cricketers are paid so much money?
Yeah, fine. And
you are okay with it, or you don't like the idea?
I don't like the idea because, I would like to ask anybody over here that whoever knows about Sapat Takraw, they can just raise hands.
Sorry?
Sapat Takraw. They sir only one over here. Yeah, only 2. If we go to our country, I can just tell about 10 or 15 members know. And the tournament got over. The tournament got over only 2 or 3 months back. National tournament. My friend went and he got deselected. It is like, cricket is very cheap, affordable, and everybody go for that sport. And tennis, you got to buy a racket for a beginner. For a beginner, you got to spend $2,000 bucks. And if you go for football, for a beginner, you got to spend $1,000 bucks. You have like $500 for a normal football. But if you go for cricket, you can just buy a 5 rupees ball and a stick broken from branch.
What was it that attracted you to play cricket rather than some other game?
In school, I played cricket, I played football, but cricket was something like it came naturally to me. I started playing cricket.
Right.
And number 1. Number 2 is, there was not much of football tournament in school level. There's not much of hockey tournament or basketball. Of course, basketball tournament, we had that probably some school tournament was there. And cricket, we had 3 tournaments played.
Right, which brings me to the next point. Tell me, Ram, most children have played many different games in school, and somehow the minute you've left school or you go into college, all of it goes by the wayside. The only one that remains is cricket. Whatever for. Why?
No, I think you stay with the game at which you're good. You can't play all the sport all the time. And when you're still selecting, when you're at school, you play cricket, you play football, you play whatever game you can play, even softball in many schools. You run, you do everything. Even in cricket, you specialize. By the time you leave school, you become a bowler or a batsman or a spinner or a fast bowler. I don't think you choose a game that, out of 3 or 4, you choose one. You choose the one at which you're good. And also, as he said, where are the tournaments? Where does a child play other games?
Kabaddi, you don't need any infrastructure. You can just go down
go down the road and you can play.
So many games. Media again. Let me not harp on the
Sorry to say this here. For cricket, you know what? Where cricket is, even in my veranda, we play this 1 bounce. Okay, that is where my cricket is improved. And we used to play street cricket because we used to have the wall as a stump and we used to hit straight. And
so you're saying, sir, sorry to interrupt you, you're saying it's just the nature of the game.
Correct, and it is much.
Please allow me to say that, because the point
is saying no.
Wait.
So is it the nature of the game?
It is nature of the game, and it has been played by right from common man to somebody who's rich enough.
Right.
The question that you asked actually was, where a child starts with a different game, he's interested, but by the time he comes down to college, his interest wanes off. Why? Because there is no recognition in any other game. Any time you open up the television set, it's all about cricket and cricket.
So I concur with the view of Zenissa. So early in the primitive days, there were drum to announce a thing. Now it's media, as Dale Carnegie points out, greatness gravitates to a person who can stand up and speak. So something to be disseminated. So in such a way, in athletics, so everyone would have run actually in school sports, at least from first standard to 12th standard. So they need only a pant, off shorts and a bunny, that's all.
So it's not expensive to become an athlete?
It's not at all expensive. But the thing is, the attraction, that is media, it gives much hype and it carries, as well as I want to point out one more thing, that is government's intention. Government should take part. It should take active role, a dominant role. Then things would have been well, and other games also will take place.
I go to a government organization and say that we have a lot of archers around, but they don't have the right kind of equipment. Can you please give some equipment for a government organization? And you know what they say? Sorry, Mr. Hussaini, Gajana Kali, yenna, ella television pettikku poiduchu. Why can't the government give us about 1,000 archery sets, 1,000 hockey sets, 1,000 tennis sets, rather than like just promoting a kind of a cheap gimmick, again promoting the media by giving television sets.
Right. So are we saying here? Okay, give you a big hand for that. Okay, so are we saying here that this audience would like to see the government actually promoting sports other than cricket? How many hands raised?
I'd like to say something here.
Please, yes.
I don't think cricket has benefited from any government action at any time. Government has never done anything for cricket or any other sport.
Right now, badminton, Sania Nehwal, she won the All England Badminton Championship. The government and the federation announced just 2 lakh rupees for her. Whereas you have a cricketer just winning some sort of match for the country, and they have given,
What is that sort of a match?
The government gives. The government gives them lands worth of crores. Even the BCCI gives.
There are good governments.
Even the BCCI gives.
There are good governments and there are bad governments. There was a government which gave us, even before we won a championship, the government gave us entire expenses to go up and down. There are governments which have helped us with land, everything. But there are governments, I know a poor guy, he was a runner and he won a tournament and came and went and saw a particular chief minister. And he came back and I was saying, hey, you're going to get a lot of money. He came back, do you know what he said? The chief minister took 50 rupees from his pocket and gave it in his hands. What a shame.
I think it all boils down to the bodies, the federations that run the sport. I think I completely agree with Anand Filar. And I put the blame on the young people who do not play any sport. How many of you play any sport? Sit here and talk about sport. Did you actually try and pursue a sport?
How many children are allowing the children to play really? It is parents, they're not allowing to play them because they want to be a doctor or an engineer. How many of them?
But again comes from what he said. We don't have a sport.
The mindset of the parents will have to also change.
That is very, very important.
Promote sports.
You have to take it from the grassroots and ask them to play all games.
Let's hear from Mr. Manian.
The start of this segment, you talked about China making.
1 second, sir. Please, sir.
China making great headway in the Olympics and winning a huge number of medals. But if you go back to China to see what they did, they actually developed community centers throughout the nation, thousands of community centers where they targeted various sports in the community centers to promote the particular sport. Right now what we need to do in India, in schools, a lot of sports are not in the school curriculum, and sports is not a major part of the curriculum. You have to make that compulsory. You have to organize community centers throughout the country to make, as you said, India into a sporting culture.
I'm going to wind up here by asking our main panelists to give us a quick word on what we've been discussing. Ram, let's start with you.
India should imbibe a sporting culture. Parents play a very important role in that. I was talking to yesterday, I was listening to somebody in music saying, what is the most important thing that you need when you're young to follow your dreams as a musician? It's the parents. It starts with that, and you have to be passionate about your sport. No matter what support you're getting anywhere, I think if you are passionate, you will go and play.
Right. Let's come to you now, Shihan Hussaini.
I would have, I'm sure I'm going to say right up with the same thing, saying that let the lead be taken by the media. If the media takes the lead and starts focusing on any sport, trust me, that sport is going to do well. The media interest will generate a natural interest from by the parents. The parents are going to say, hey, there's a great sport, why don't you take up? And when the child starts taking, I think also the government should also be very good to all different kinds of sports rather than focusing on a particular kind of sport. I'm sure.
Right. Anand.
There was no media when Prakash Padukone was born as a champion. There was no media when we had Vishwanathan Anand. There was hardly any media when there was Sachin Tendulkar. So it all boils down to the fact that number one, we don't have a sporting ethos in our country, whether we like it or not, because our energies are focused on our day-to-day living, which is far more greater to us, far more closer to our heart than playing a sport. If somebody plays a sport and comes up, okay, it's by the way. Another aspect is, yes, media can play a bigger role, but the fact is you got to be realistic. We are here to do a business, because if we don't make money, our bosses are going to sack us. So how do we make money? We show what makes money for us. And the third aspect is the federation, the officials. I think they should be a little more passionate. They should also be in tune with reality and adopt working modules which will earn them the revenues.
Right. Well, thank you very much, Shehan Hussaini, Anand and Ram. Really do appreciate you being here today. Sports generates talent. Talent generates interest. And particularly in the case of cricket, that itself generates money, plenty of it. So, if other sports are to make it into the big league, then the media, federations, governing bodies and the sponsors have to step up to the podium. We'd like to have your views on this important subject or anything else that you might feel strongly about. Just call us at 99413 2222 or 044 4290 7777. And should you care to write in, then our email ID is feedback@ndtv-hindu.com. Thank you so much for being with us on ASL Chennai Speaks Out. Bye for now.